Microtransactions killed gaming in all caps. I mean, it's got 200 fucking views. It's a self-promo? Bro, it's gotta be a self-promo. All right, you know what? You want me to watch your self-promo video? I'm gonna be harsh on this one. So you're gonna get a fucking reality check.
Transactions killed gaming. You see, in the early days of gaming, you used to be able to purchase a brand new...
Number one, all right, let's go ahead and just start. So if you look at every single observable graph and metric, gaming is becoming more popular. So there is, you know, like this is, I would say this is a bit of an argument against the idea that gaming is being killed.
Game and pop that bad boy in the disc tray and begin your descension into degeneracy. Nowadays, when you buy a new game, you might as well buy some lube, and while your 60 gigabyte game is downloading, you can go ahead and begin lubing up your app.
That fucking, what's it called? Star Wars game is 120 gigs. Can you believe that? 120 gigabytes. 60 gigabytes for the game, 60 gigabytes for the Bitcoin farming devices that sends information back to China.
Asshole for maximum efficiency in preparation of being fucked by whatever game company you purchased from. In my view, most AAA companies in many ways have really lost their touch in terms of video game creation. It's a
I think that's definitely true, and I actually don't think it's because of the companies. It's because these games take so long to make. So like, imagine like most AAA games take like 3 to 5 years to make, sometimes more, occasionally less. How the fuck can you make a game that's like that caters to the audience 4 years in advance, right? I mean, like, people's interests change so fast. They change all the time, right? You have people that really like BRs. Like, imagine if you started making a BR in 2020, whenever Fortnite was huge, Apex was huge, Warzone was just completely popping off, PUBG Mobile was still really popular. All of these games were really, really popular. And now your Battle Royale comes out today, and people are fucking, like, there's already been so many of them that, like, everybody's just reinventing the wheel over and over. You see what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, they try to beat Destiny, even after it's been out for years. Exactly. And like, that's just how it goes. So, like, the reason why AAA gaming is dying is, number one, because the time that it takes them to ship a game makes them non-competitive in the market, number one. Number two, the amount of money it takes for them to make the game forces them to use microtransactions to offset the cost. So they can't charge $90 for a video game, which would make it profitable on its own, because gamers won't pay that much money. Fuck, they don't even want to pay $70. People still want to pay $50 or $60, and most people even then are waiting for it to go on sale, or they're pirating it. So you can't really increase the box cost. You have like an ever-increasing cost of living. You have an increasing cost of salaries, of costing the business, like everything. Like, everything is going up in price. Inflation is fucking, you know, it's doing what it does. And meanwhile, you've got to keep the same price, and you've got this massive studio with all these people. So how the fuck do you make money? That's what's happening. I think AAA studios are becoming too big to succeed. That's what I think's happening. I actually think that it's, whenever you break it down, yeah, sure, it's greed. Sure. But, like, there's also 10 other reasons that make just as much sense.
Shame whenever I see a new video game being teased. I have to worry about whether or not some sort of predatory loot box system has been baked into the progression system of the game, therefore ruining the whole experience and completely shitting on your hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it is the fact that you basically threw your money down the shitter. Even if the microtransactions are only cosmetic items, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth from the fact that items...
I don't want to have, like, I mean, I wish I could just buy a game for $100 and it's just a game. I don't need some fucking continuous thing. Just make it kind of like semi-open source. Make it like, I mean, Dark Souls 3 is such a great fucking example, right? Elden Ring is such a great fucking example. I didn't talk to you guys about this today. And I didn't put up my title or anything, but I downloaded the Convergence mod for Elden Ring today. And I plan on playing that. I don't know if I'm going to play it today, but I downloaded it, I got it started, I got it running, it's going, right? So I'm getting to play a game that I bought, was it fucking last year or some shit? I bought this game last year, and I love this game, and now somebody's making a mod of it, and I can enjoy it in a totally new way. I went back, I played, I think I played, did I play the, I don't think I played the Hollowed mod in Dark Souls 3. I know I played the fuck out of Cinders, I beat that whole thing. I played Daughters of Ash, I think I played part of the Convergence mod in Dark Souls 3, and I think I played another one that I just can't remember right now. And maybe I didn't, I don't know, but I know I played those 3. Anyway, that was just like, it's continuous new content for me. I'm always playing something and enjoying something new. And that's what I want. Like, as a gamer, that is my bis, is Elden Ring that can be modded and people can make more content for it. And whenever the developers want to make more content, we get a DLC and I pay 40, 20, 30, however much money for the DLC. That's what I want. Like, as a player. The problem is that the truth is most people don't have $100 of disposable income. Right? Like, most people can't just drop a fucking Benjamin like that. That's just a fact. They don't have that much fucking money. So, you know, you have like an audience of people that are a lot younger, and because they're a lot younger, they're not able to really afford it. And then you have older people who don't have as much time to play video games, so the comparative value of that money is minimized because they're not going to play it as much. $100 is a really prohibitive price point. That's a lot of money, man. So what happens? Well, what happens is you get free-to-play games. So as much as people don't like free-to-play games, and I know a lot of you guys feel the same way that I do, you wish that they could just make, you know, a game like Elden Ring, you pay a premium box cost for it, and that's it. You know, you don't need a bunch of live service things. You don't need 7 different battle passes. The modders will create that content for you, and everybody's happy. That's all I want. But it's just, the truth is that we're not, and I think that, honestly, I think that we are the single-digit minority of gamers that will actually pay that much money to play a new game. Like, if I was going to actually, and like, again, I am totally fucking speaking out of my ass. This is just this is a vibe check, okay? But my vibe check, like, value of this, I think probably like 3 to 5% of gamers would be willing to pay an extremely high 5% box cost for a video game to avoid microtransactions. I would be surprised if it was even that much. So that's the way I see it.
It's only acquirable through real-life payment are going to look the coolest compared to whatever you can unlock just by playing the game.
Do you remember back in the day with like Halo 3 where you had somebody that had the Hayabasa armor? Or you had like in Halo 2 where you would fucking queue in and you'd do Team Slayer, or like fucking, like you do like 2v2 or some shit like that. And like you would queue into somebody and they would have like the moon, or they'd have the eclipse thing or some shit like that. And it was like, oh my God, right? Oh my God, I'm about to queue into a cheater. But, you know, it meant something, right? That it mattered so much.
And this is done on purpose, of course, to incentivize you into giving in.
No, it wasn't. Halo 2. Halo 2 had a 1 to 50 ladder where, like, I remember there was, like, points on it. And at, like, I think level 40, level 39, you got 4 points and it was red. And then at 43 or 44, your number would change into a picture. After that, yeah. Yeah, guys, bro, I was there 3,000 years ago. You try, bro, y'all try to correct me on something you probably weren't even born then.
Paying with your hard-earned cash. Imagine if in Halo 3, the recon helmet was behind a paywall, instead of personally being given to you by the Bungie developers if you beat them in a multiplayer match. The only exception is if the game is completely free. This is the only time this doesn't bother me as much. However, not always. Clash of Clans, a free game that I played for about 3 weeks, loves to incentivize you into paying to progress. Even as a teenager, I knew this was complete bullshit, and so I quit playing. To be fair though, it is primarily a mobile game, so it sort of gets off the hook. But then there's
and you can see how people, and this is why they do it then. Even this guy who makes a video about how microtransactions killed gaming has no problem making an exception for free-to-play games and having microtransactions. And the truth is that a lot of these really high profitability games are free-to-play. Like Honkai Star Rail made $50 million selling a picture of a girl with blue hair. That's a pretty good fucking overhead. I mean, really, I think she has purple hair, actually. So yeah, and they'll probably do it again with a guy that has gray or white hair. It is what it is. So yeah, I mean, people are just okay with it, and that's why more companies are adopting this model.
Some games that are so unapologetically predatory that it's downright insulting. GTA 5 is a major offender of this to this day. That game is such a scam, even their most dedicated players are starting to call out Rockstar for milking their player base.
Yeah, but like nobody really gives a shit because whenever GTA 6 comes out, everybody's going to play it again and spend the money on the microtransactions immediately. Like, that's really the bottom line. Like, that's really what's going to happen.
Get me wrong, I love playing every now and then, but you can bet your ass you won't catch me buying a shark card. And, well, to tell you the truth, I don't really need to anyway, because I exploited the fuck out of the money glitches when they were around. So now I have all the cool shit, and I didn't even have to spend a penny. Fuck you, Rockstar. Diablo Immortal suffers the same fate.
Watch they go and ban his account after this.
As well, unfortunately, albeit a game I've never played before, but it only takes one Google search to figure out if I want to play it or not.
Mistake.
This is 800% extra value? I'd be losing money if I didn't buy this.
Supposedly in that game, it takes upward of $100,000
Oh, remember
to
this
get
guy,
to max
JT?
level. Yeah, fuck that. No thanks. Even in Wizard 101.
God, bro, like, I remember the Diablo Immortal streams were so fucking good.
A game I'm sure most of you have played, or at least heard about in your childhood, is completely infested with microtransactions. That includes legitimate gambling with packs. Pretty much loot boxes for very
yeah, they actually are exactly loot boxes. Wow, okay.
low chances of getting items that are sometimes the best at certain levels.
Yeah,
What's
sure.
even more gross is the fact that this game is marketed as a children's game.
Well, that's why that's why they have gambling, is they get kids addicted to gambling early. That way, whenever they get older, they'll do more gambling because it's normalized. That's the whole point. Yeah, and this is what I was saying before, right? Is like, you know, this guy said whenever he was a teenager, Clash of Clans was out, so he's probably like, what, 20, you know, like lower 20s? So, like, imagine what somebody in 10 years is going to say about this, right? They'll have grown up with this, and they'll have never known what it was like to earn the, you know, like what he said, like the recon armor in Halo 3. They'll never know what it meant to have, like, a Thunder Fury in Vanilla WoW. They won't have any idea.
Gambling practices are heavily promoted, even if only adults are mostly playing nowadays, which the devs actually argue, saying lots of children are still playing. Either way, this is an irrelevant point. Having to gamble with real-life money to get some of the best items in a video game is complete bullshit.
Yeah, it is complete bullshit, but, like, just because it's bullshit doesn't mean they're going to stop doing it, right? I mean, like, yeah, it is bullshit, but there are enough gamers out there that don't give a fuck. And if they did give a fuck, then they would stop doing it. Bullshit makes money, yeah. Brave take. I mean, there it is.
And point. And the developers are very aware of this, but the problem is no one plays it, and it is a very dead game compared to most MMOs. So this shady bullshit goes under the radar due to not enough players bitching about it. Trust me, I know.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, the guy just talked about Grand Theft Auto, and, like, whenever I hear about people talking about Grand Theft Auto, there's not people that are mad about, like, the GTA Online. Most people don't give a fuck about it. So I think the majority of cases, it doesn't even really matter, even if it is a big game.
I used to stream it on Twitch
Honkai
pretty
Star
frequently.
Rail.
Beyond the games we've already discussed here, there are a handful of game franchises that were absolutely decimated by the introduction of microtransactions. Most notably, at least to me, was Dead Space, Halo, and of course, probably the most obvious coming into this video, Star Wars Battlefront. These games...
Well, didn't they push back on Star Wars Battlefront? I remember that. Like Halo, I never played Halo 5. Like, yeah, people were upset enough about that to where they went back on it for a bit.
in my eyes, were the major red flags in the buildup of increasingly shittier and more predatory games each year. Dead Space 3 was completely ruined, with materials being purchasable with real-world money. Not to mention, the game sucked the fattest ass. Halo 5 suffered from the same problems, unfortunately, but to a larger degree. Not only was the game dog shit, but it also managed to shoehorn in a shitty loot box system, completely eroding the little trust Halo fans had with 343 at that time.
Well, now it's even less. And yeah, I think he's right. I think that also some of the fine print in what he just said is the two games are, I mean, they're just garbage. Right? They're straight up garbage games. Even if you didn't have this problem, they would still be bad games. That's it.
And then we have this piece of shit. The straw that broke the camel's back. Oh yes, the game is very much fun to play now, and a lot of the past problems have been fixed. But boy oh boy, back in 2017, this game was the embodiment of what AAA gaming had become. For those that don't know, when Star Wars Battlefront 2 was first released, it was quickly discovered it had broken all of the
Thou shalt not create shitty games, thou shalt not implement microtransactions, thou shalt be granted anime waifus. There is no... Is there any game that has anime waifus and doesn't have microtransactions? Like, I don't think so, right? I mean, Code Vein, does it not have microtransactions? I don't know. I feel like I feel like these kind of go hand in hand.
Cardinal sins of gaming. Not only did it introduce loot boxes to Star Wars Battlefront, but it had directly tied progression and upgrades to these newly monetized loot boxes, meaning the more money you spent, the better you would be at the game.
Ooh. Wow, what a surprise. And again, I don't think that's why the game died. I don't think that's why people were mad about the game. Like, again, you can look at Genshin Impact, you can look at Honkai Star Rail, you can look at, I don't know, like any popular game that has microtransactions. I mean, fuck, like Valorant has it. Like all these games have microtransactions. People just don't give a fuck if the game is good. They will make excuses for it if the game is good. But if the game is bad, then it's a non-starter. Like, having microtransactions make a bad game worse, but it doesn't make a bad game good.
Gamers did not like this, no. And
yeah,
so, for the very
upset.
first time in history, gamers rose from their moms' basements to protest this new form of tyranny. Thankfully, after all the backlash, EA was brutally and publicly executed on the internet. Rightly so, of course. Holy shit, it was fucking glorious. Even the government...
I don't think it's really that glorious. I mean, like, yeah, they stopped doing it in this one game. Like, who cares? They're just gonna do it in another game. Like, there's like 5,000 games coming out, and like one of them doesn't have it. I mean, I'm sorry, but like that doesn't necessarily... I don't feel like a winner at the end of this.
Stepped in with legal action, causing so many memes to be born.
Do you consider loot boxes to be an ethical feature of your games? Kerry?
Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. I think that was...
Whatever term you wish to apply
yeah,
to them, do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics. But
think about how to move some initiative forward. Ask yourself this question first. Is this good for the player? 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 No!
It was so satisfying to watch one of the most depraved corporate gaming companies get publicly scalded in front of millions.
But who cares? It didn't change anything. Am I the only person that's like, I don't want to seem like a doomer, but like it doesn't really matter. It's like, yeah, I like the outcome is still the same.
It was beautiful. But to be honest with you, For me to say that it was beautiful is kind of copium, because the
Yeah,
truth
it doesn't
is
make-
I
yeah.
wanted all 3 of these games to succeed. I would much rather have them be massive hits rather than getting what we got. I adore these franchises, and I still do, but they have lost their way. It seems the Dead Space franchise has mostly bounced back and recovered with the Dead Space remake. I can't say the same for the other 2 games, and the betrayal is still very fresh in my memory. I could mention 100 other games that had the same
Yeah.
downfall, but then this video would be 2 hours long. So now that I've bitched for about 5 minutes, let's really get down to fucking business. This is the big kicker. This is the reason we are all here.
Okay.
How the fuck did this happen? Why is gaming so ass nowadays? And how did we land our
I feel like I feel like this is going to be some kind of like call to action.
ourselves in this situation? Well, I'll tell you. The problem is you. That's right. You
Yep.
and me. As it happens, some human beings aren't as smart as others. And unfortunately, we've all supported predatory microtransactions one way or another, whether we like it or not. And the
That's true.
unfortunate reality is, predatory microtransactions will always exist within video games. And do you know why? Because no matter if you, your family, and all of your friends, even your fucking dog, all stop supporting predatory games
Somebody
and stop
else
buying their
won't.
microtransactions, some stupid ass little pussy bitch will quadruple what you would have spent just so he
Yep.
can be better in a video game.
There it
or
is.
some lonely coomer dumbass will continue buying stupid ass thirsty phone games. Ladies and gentlemen, the only way to push back against this insanity is to speak with your wallet. But the
Average
reality
Nikkei
is
enjoyer.
we've shit in our own bed and we continue doing so. So now the only option is to sleep in it because we have no choice. Have a good day, everybody. Subscribe or your mom's a hoe.
I feel like that's a really good ending of the video. I thought that was funny. Again, like I've seen, this is probably episode 36 of this video. I've seen it many times before. This was not as bad as I thought it would be, especially for like a self-promo video. I think that, you know, you're really going to you're going to get the gamers riled up. You're going to get them, you know, out for blood, you know, ready to go to war. But the truth is, like, I mean, it's just, I don't really think that anything's going to change until you have like regulation or something. Like, you have to have regulation. If you can't do that, then nothing's really going to matter. That's it. I think that everything else, like these like short, you know, 24-hour victories after 5 years of like, oh, we got them to stop it in this one game. It's like, okay, congratulations.